I want us to also to pick this particular headline that we had in the Standard last Friday. Uhuru hand in Ruto cancelled the Mount Kenya rally. And we want just to pick up on this, on what it was a perception. This was meant to be a prayer rally. And lately, we can see the Deputy President has really gotten pious as well. This also was what was happening in Karen as well, with Africa, that is the Israeli church as well. This was in Karen lately. And this is from Western Kenya, this particular denomination, so to speak. I hope Boni, and I wanted also Boni Halole to be here to tell us, is he the one who organized this forum that went to the Deputy President's, home?
That was a big delegation.
The one thing that you can give it to the president is the politics and the politics of perception. He has really crafted that, to finesse. And this is what now the Deputy President, he's been doing so far, cutting that figure that, he's very pious and really connected to Mwananchi. And looking at this particular headline that we had also on the front page of a Standard last Friday, we want to know the rhyme and, the reason why this particular, was it a prayer rally that was cancelled in Mount Kenya? And we had around 19 governors that were invited, and 11 had confirmed. We had around 103 members of parliament that also were invited for this. I don't know if Omatangi you were invited for that prayer rally. You can tell us today, was it?
Unfortunately, Dibala was not invited.
You were not invited.
But
Aaron Girot were invited for that
I was
rally.
out of the country
Yes,
anyway
I was.
that time.
You were invited?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we might begin with Aaron, then he tell us. You were out of the country, I remember.
Yeah.
So Aaron can tell us what was the rhyme and reason for having this particular rally, and why was it cancelled?
I wouldn't know why it was cancelled. I only know that just like we received invites from different quarters, my colleague from Muranga had invited me to this particular function and said it's a prayer function where actually in the text that he sent to me, he said it's a prayer function where no politician was going to speak. It was just going to be a prayer function, and after it we're going to troop back home. But in the 11th hour, I hear it was cancelled. I saw a text from him saying we have postponed until further notice. I want to believe it's because of maybe the politics that was generated out of it by certain quarters that seemed not to have been happy. I'm not sure. I see the Standard is reporting that the president had a hand in it. I have no reason either to confirm or deny the same, and therefore I wouldn't wish to engage in anything beyond that. But I don't think there was anything political about it. I just saw people saying that if it is a prayer function, why not? What is wrong with people praying? And it was on that basis that I was planning to attend.
All right. Let's hear from Mutende on this as well.
Who was
I was looking at the face of my friend Aaron Cheruiyot and comparing his countenance when he was earlier talking about the Muhoroni rally. He was bubbly. And now, about this, you've seen he's very sullen. And I think that speaks volumes. Let me say three things. First of all, by the very statements that Aaron Cheruiyot has made, tells you there was nothing about prayers for this one. It was all politics. He says he was informed by his colleague, who later said, we have postponed. If it was prayers, it would not have been a politician postponing or arranging. It would have been the church. Secondly, even the phrase prayer rally, in my view, is a contradiction. You do political rallies, and we politicians do it, but you do a prayer crusade. to coin a term like prayer rally is ingenious, but and it betrays the intention. The intention is not to pray. The intention is to do politics. And this idea of politicization of prayers is a very unfortunate thing, and it brings me to what you just showed at the Deputy President's residence. I think to say that you brought 300 individuals wearing their garb of choice for their religion with drums and almost in a frenzy is not to say you are any more pious. I actually believe that if you are pious, if you want to be godly, you go to the house of God. You don't invite God to your house and pretend that you are any more religious than the rest of us. Quite honestly, you can say what you will, but President Moi, whenever he used to, first, he never used to call those people to pray for him where he is. He would go to church. And he would make sure that he does not speak inside the church. Anything that he was to say, he would say outside. But almost always, he would not really talk on that occasion when he's gone to church. I think we should reduce this idea of trying to use the church as a political platform. When the Deputy President brings 300 individuals.
But we saw also Raila Odinga really getting baptized at one point and becoming so pious. You know,
Yeah,
as we were heading towards general election, you get closer to God as well. So he was dipping himself in the water, he bang immersed and
he went to where the water is, where the bishop was. Yes, the water never came to where he was. He went there and he got baptized and left. And even you are encouraged. You might actually get baptized and get many more names. But the point now we need to focus on, that picture, and I have no doubt that that group was organized by Halwale because we were here with him that morning. And he left, and then later I saw he was one of those who were jumping. And the first issue is, that very morning he had told us here that he's a good Catholic. That is not the Catholic Church. When then you go and adorn that and pretend those are your church members, what are you doing? Secondly,
these are
you are hosting over 300, I think there are well over 1,000, adherents of that denomination at the taxpayers' expense, because this is the official residence of the Deputy President. Why would it be necessary to bring all those people? And lastly, now that particular part catches my attention. You see, those guys are actually chanting, they're almost in a frenzy. Usually, for what I know of these indigenous churches, when they do that, they're exorcising some spirits or some devils. So I don't know whether they went to exorcise the house of the Deputy President.
Is it a silly? I'm not my count. Is it Momatangi?
In that caption, but
He was.
but there was a clip he circulated a week earlier when he met some faithfuls on a roadside. I don't know whether you saw that clip. And then and they sang and really danced on the roadside with those, and they were wearing similar regalia.
Maybe you got an idea.
So I think maybe Bonnie could have struck a deal there.
But as you know, Bonnie has recently been baptized.
No, because because he's pro-Jubilee. So
He has changed his character, but
Bodi is going through a lot of tribulations, even from his own party.
I mean, why tribulations? I mean, it's rejoicing. I mean, that's dancing. I saw
From his party.
I saw somebody with drums there. In fact, I wanted to look closely. Would that have been Bonnie, the one who was drumming, because he had the physique of Bonnie, and looks pretty joyous anyway.
I was with a few, like about nearly a year ago, I was in a function where the DP was in Kitale with Honorable Eugene Wamalwa and Kanini Kega. And I saw the sycophancy. So when we were coming back, I told Kanini, you are a smart man, wachana na hii team. Nowadays he tells me you advised me right. See the cancellation of the so-called prayer rally in Central Province. The people who are imagining it think they want to defy the president against tangatangering in his wish of people tangatangering in Central Province. Because nowadays, the ones whose securities were withdrawn, how come we have gone for 3 weeks, we don't hear about them? It means they have returned, but they have knelt down. means the state is working on them. The power of the state. As these people were tangering, Uhuru was consolidating. And there was this imagination that Uhuru was lazy, would not take charge of the state. I am happy that he has finally taken charge of the state. Because the way the MPs have been running around and doing all kinds of things, it has not been good. You know, the MPs should really be in parliament, doing the work of parliament. Even like when Uhuru comes, what Cheriot was referring to, when he comes to parliament and talks about some due process. I was in parliament when the same Boni brought a motion to kick out Kimunya because of alleged corruption. And we executed it. Kimunya resigned. Then we
just continue.
We went on to force Kiraitu, Murungaru, and many people resigned at that point. How come now MPs are not working to at least impeach one minister who is mentioned of graft?
Thank you.
The MPs are so obsessed with 2022 to the extent that they are not doing parliamentary work. And I think that is the unfortunate thing Jubilee government has done to this country.
That's the man I was asking. Is that Bonnie, the one in a white shirt?
The one in the middle?
Yes, the one who is drumming.
He was at this meeting, I can assure you. Though I don't know if that is it.
Just because the photo is not clear, but he has the physique of Bonnie.
All right. Maybe the one jumping high.
Eseli, you don't want to speak about your deputy party leader?
I think.
Are you in the same denomination, by the way?
No. That one I leave it to the disciplinary committee. I'm a Quaker. I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a Quaker, not in this kind of thing.
All right.
What I would say
Okay.
is this gives me a sense of
Why? Just why?
Why do you want to allow the country to continue to be misled on each and every week, week in, week out, by people who are everything but religious? That is my good friend Otiende and Jakoyo here. We have you ever had Otiende or Jakoyo quote a single verse from the Bible? They absolutely have no understanding of this thing. Therefore, you know, if you allow them to talk matters of religion,
But William
then
quoted
you must-
a verse. He's quoted a verse which does not exist in the Bible. Just 2 weeks ago.
Listen, Jakoyo, listen. The Bible says in Matthew 18:20 that where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am then in their midst. Therefore, first of all, it is religiously erroneous of Otiende to try and mislead the people that the only place you can pray is in a church, and that anybody who prays elsewhere apart from a church is doing so at the advent of either politics or anything
Not
else.
using state
Therefore,
resources.
I know your competence in other areas.
All right, thank you.
But on matters of religion,
No,
you are completely
no,
mistaken.
That is very wrong.
Before
Just a
you
moment.
speak, Let's get this clear, Aaron. First of all, you know you are given to a political formation that quotes wrong and non-existent verses. So even for you, every verse you quote, we must cross-check with the Bible. The propensity that it would be wrong is very high. Secondly, I am Catholic. But it does not make you religious to keep trying to quote a Bible verse. That prayer is very internal and very personal. So the idea of saying now, today I've quoted, therefore I'm religious is nonsense. But the point I was making, first of all, for matters faith, don't use the taxpayers' money.
Yes.
Secondly, for proper deep faith, you cannot keep bringing the church to you and say, I am more religious. That's the point I'm making.
Where has he said it?
But we've just seen it.
He has never said I'm more religious. What is your problem when he prays?
No, we've just gone through
we
that
don't-
here.
we don't complain.
Let him finish.
It was my take.
It
It
was
was my
your
take. I think on that one I'll answer them this way. Matthew chapter 6, verse 5. And when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and the street corners to be seen by others. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward in full. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. And when you pray, do not keep on babbling like pagans, for they think they will be heard because of their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask.
Amen.
And all of us will say
Now,
amen.
can I go even further now? Now about Harambes. Be careful not to practice your righteousness in front of others to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven. So when you give to the needy, do not announce it with trumpets, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues, on the streets, to be honored by others. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward. But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you.
Read that verse to William today.
No. So just pass it to Aaron. On the transmission. Give it to him.
I know all the translation of the Bible. You see, listen, you know there's something you keep forgetting. Yes. I've always warned against reading the Bible like drunkards. You know the drunkards, they read only that verse that says, take wine, it is good. And they close the Bible and drunk. That is what Esel is doing. If you are to read further.
This is Matthew chapter 6. I think it's very clear.
First of all, you're reading it out of context.
No, I'm not reading out of context. Okay. Now, I was reading it as by that, what you saw there in Karen, the visit to Karen, by the Israel something church. Now, this church is well known for very dramatic worship, you know, very dramatic worship and very enthusiastic singing and dancing, and their tunes are sort of Luyanized. I know Luya music is very throbby and very energetic, and that's about it. But when you look at it, is the political influence of that church is not particularly pervasive. I can tell you that in my own constituency, there's a school that CDF built for them called Mufunje Primary. And by the way, I've always lost that polling station because I think they don't particularly like my religious views. And in fact, this last election, that polling station went to Jubilee. So they are visiting William Ruto is not news.
Thank you.
They have been, been Jubilee supporters.
Let's give our closing remarks, please.
But the DP...
When he was
we'll stop for time.
But the DP is being a bit defiant in some of the things that he's doing. And we must realize that the church is part of Kenya. And Kenyans like anybody with money. Anybody who's willing to have money and spread the money. You know, money fells mountains and it also waters deserts. So the church is part of Kenya. And the people who are in that church are Kenyans. So they behave like all the other Kenyans.
Thank you.
But
no, we need to wind up.
Let me just finish this.
I'm under pressure right now because all of us won't get closing remarks if we continue.
Building this psychopathic kind of, building psychophancy to the point of personality worship bordering on cultism is dangerous for this country.
Right, let's leave it at that then. Just 10 seconds to wind up. Kimano Motangi.
For closing remarks?
Closing remarks.
Well, first I wanted to interject on when they were reading the Bible, because it is the practice of Otiende Amolo all the time to say that this article is read in conjunction with this other one and this other one. Now, I wanted him to help us which other verse you read in conjunction with that one.
Thank you.
But otherwise, I want to say that I think what we need to do in leadership right now in this country is to ensure, and I've said this repeatedly, Dibal, is to look at our calendar where we are in this year of 2019. And our exit point at 2022, and create a roadmap that should tell us what to do at what time.
Thank you.
And this is the time to build this country, not to politicize.
Thank you. Giacomo, you 10 seconds.
To give fight against corruption confidence, the president must let go his ministers.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Aaron Chiriot, closing remarks.
I want to tell my colleagues here, those who want to prosecute us for practicing our faith, is that the Bible, according to Romans 1:16, speaks to us about not being ashamed of our faith. I have not asked them where they pray. Why should they be bothered about where I pray?
All right, we'll verify that verse. Let's hear from Eselias. Your closing remarks.
My closing remarks is Kenyans should be very careful. There's a sense of deja vu in the air that what pertained during the KANU era seems to be slowly creeping back with an emasculated parliament, with a docile population. So Kenyans need to be very awake.
Otiende Amolo, closing remarks.
The sanctity of the church is in grave danger of being eroded. I urge the churches, the religious leaders, let us keep the true faith of God. Let us avoid bringing in politics. And we are in a fight for the soul of this nation. I agree with the Catholic bishops. We need to recapture our country.
We need to recapture our country. Thank you very much for your valued contribution on people and politics. Also on social media, we really do appreciate your reactions there. I can't read all the tweets right now, but I thank you also for your contribution nonetheless on driving the show with me. You've been watching